Hello, everyone, and welcome to Writers Airwave Network. I'm your host, Juan Corrigan, and today we have the pleasure of welcoming April Anada Adams, author of the heartfelt poetry collection, Symphony on a Toy Piano II. Life is filled with moments of joy, uncertainty, faith, and unexpected challenges. Through poetry, April reminds us that even when life feels out of tune, there's still beauty to be found in every note. Her collection invites readers to embrace both the triumphs and the struggles, discovering hope, grace, humor, and the quiet presence of God along the journey. A retired nurse, devoted wife, and passionate poet, April brings decades of compassion and life experiences in her writing. Her words encourage us to pause, reflect, and listen to the music of the soul, even during life's most difficult seasons. Today, we'll explore the inspiration behind Symphony on a Toy Piano II, the role of faith in her writing, and the personal experiences that shape this meaningful collection. Please join me in welcoming April Anada Adams.
Hey, Juan.
April, before we start, let's talk about your Symphony on a Toy Piano II. We'd love for our audience to get to know the person behind the poetry. As a retired nurse, devoted wife, and lifelong love of writing, could you share a little about your personal journey and what inspired you to become an author?
Well, I worked most of my adult life as a registered nurse, and I retired in the infamous 2020, so I have more time to devote to my poetry. But I began writing poems when I was small, like in the 4th grade, and I was very dramatic. Actually, my parents were called in for a parent-teacher conference because all my poems were sad, and that's because all the popular songs were tearjerkers at the time.
Yeah.
As a teenager, I continued to write poems in response to anything I considered a tragedy, and I was a drama queen.
Oh.
Thankfully, my poems matured as I did, and today, many of my poems are spiritual in nature.
Okay, well, that's good. Now, what inspired you to write Symphony on a Toy Piano II?
I started accumulating quite a collection of poems over the years and decided it was time to publish, and it's really nice to have a beautiful way to share my poetry.
Okay. The title is very unique. What does Symphony on a Toy Piano II mean to you?
Symphony on a Toy Piano, the title comes from the realization that words are often inadequate to express the truths we encounter in life. It's like trying to play an entire symphony on a toy piano.
Okay. And your book talks about both life's beautiful moments and its challenges. Why was it important for you to share both sides of the journey?
Well, every life has joy, soul. We often label events as good or bad. But good things such as maturity and growth can result from events we initially label as bad. We need to learn to look beneath the surface for lessons we can learn.
That's true. Now, was there a particular life experience that inspired many of your stories or reflections in this book?
Well, I'm going to answer that question with a series of 3 poems. They're not very long. Okay. But I can't narrow it down to a particular experience, but I know in times of sorrow, writing can be cathartic. I feel better when I get it down on paper. When I had change in my life that was really hard to accept, I wrote a poem called The Cross, and I'll read that as an example.
Okay.
The Cross. Lord, I know there is a cross you made specifically for me, and it was designed to make me the woman I should be. But sometimes, Lord, I don't like it, and it messes up my hair, and sometimes it just does not go with the outfit that I wear. And I would so like to leave it propped up against the wall or deep inside a closet where I can't see it at all. But lately I've been stumbling on this cross that I should bear, and my toes are getting sore, Lord, and I wonder, don't you care? I'm looking at this cross now, and I think that it is more than I can even pick up or drag across the floor. But the longer that I look at it, I realize it is mine, and it was placed here just for me by your grand design. I could stay right here and contemplate, what's in all this for me? But I hear your voice from up ahead. Will you still follow me? And I long to be with you, my Lord, and I want to win this fight. So I take up my cross, surprised to find, in your presence, it is light. And the second poem I'm going to read was inspired by getting older, which happens to all of us. This poem is called Growing Pains. Lord, I thought that by the time I was this age I've come to be, that my face would glow and my pores would ooze spirituality. I thought my prayers would be so deep for your kingdom here on earth. Instead, I am much more concerned with my abdominal girth, and I seem to be the same old me, while you are the great I am. Please make me all that I should be by your unfailing plan. And the fruit, Lord, of the Spirit that I know should flow from me, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, love, joy, and peace. But the problem is I strain so hard at these gnats that bother me, I hardly notice camels that I keep swallowing. Lord, I know I can be fluent in modern Christianese, while inside I may be filled with pride, and my heart can be deceived. Unite my heart to fear your name. Free it from all distraction. Let me love you with heart, mind, soul, and strength until love shows up in my actions. So as years go by, they say time flies. And as I turn another page, help me, O Holy Spirit, to truly act my age. And the last poem I'm going to read for this question was inspired when my husband and I years ago got the flu at the same time. We were terrible together. Anyway,
Okay.
yeah, it's called Flu Season. We passed like zombies shuffling down the hallway, each lost in suffering, dressed alike in rumpled bathrobes. We do not speak. Occasional groans suffice. But after 20 years of marriage, who needs words? The doctor says we caught the flu. My temperature's 102. I hear you cough in the next room, and I am strangely comforted by your presence. Still, I think you are my knight in shining armor. I am one sick woman. And that's the end of that question.
Oh, those are wonderful.
Yeah, they're fun. They're fun. Some
I
of them
think
are
that would be good for kids. I really do. Yeah. Yeah, I would love those. Now, throughout the book, faith plays an important role. How has your relationship with God influenced your writing?
Well, God is my inspiration, and sometimes I think he really helps me write the poem. I once wrote one of my most spiritual poems when I was angry with someone. I wrote it and thought, where did that come from? The poem is called Good Shepherd, and I'd like to read it for you, just as one poem. Good Shepherd, little sheep, you have far wandered from the safety of the fold, and the evening sun is setting, with the darkness comes the cold. And I know that you are lonely as you look back on your life. You have been a little lost lamb tossed about by sin and strife, and you think no one will miss you if you never come back home. If you die among the barren rocks, you will only die alone. But there is one who always loved you, and he left his home above, and he spoke to you the words of life. Then he sealed them with his blood, and he's calling now to find you across the corridors of time. And he's gone through storm and tempest since he left the 99. Will you stay among the thorny brush? With your silence hide your shame? Or will love prevail, though doubts assail? You need only speak his name, Jesus.
Very good.
Yeah.
No, I like that. I think that'd be good. Something like
Yeah.
Dr. Seuss in many ways, But was there a chapter or passage that was especially meaningful or emotional for you to write?
Well, when my mother died, I wrote a poem called The Last Time, and parts of that poem can still make me cry. When I read it for you, you'll see that it has both sorrow and hope. I went to visit her the day before she passed away, and I had no idea that would be the last time. Anyway, the last time. If we could know for certain, as our lives go slipping past, of the moments we hold precious, which times would be the last, I don't believe that we could bear it, for the times that we most treasure would be robbed of every drop of joy if we knew how they were measured. The last time I came to visit, Mom was sitting in her chair, and we talked of everyday things, and I was not aware that this would be the last time. A shadow crossed her face, death's shadow, lurking there. And I don't know how to let go, don't know how to say goodbye. I kiss her forehead in my dreams. Her soft white curls comfort my lips. I awake and hear a cry. It is my own. But I know someday, when I am standing on that bright holy shore, and I hear the angel shouting that time shall be no more, my sorrows and my tears will quickly fade into the past. I'll enjoy unending first times without a single last. And then the next poem was inspired by a family crisis, the kind that you kind of feel like the whole rug's been pulled out from under you. You have to regroup. This one is called, yeah, that happens to all of us at some point. This one is called Reformation. Instinctively, I hit the ground when I heard my life come crashing down. The view from here does not look good, and I would change it if I could. If I could just reach my microscope, I'd figure out a way to cope. Some Elmer's glue and then see whether I could piece this broken mess together. Of course, no matter how I try, I'm sure the cracks I cannot hide. And as I pondered what to do, the voice of Jesus, soft and sweet, telling me, forget the glue, get off the ground and on your feet. You don't need a microscope or glue, for I am making something new. When I stood, I could clearly see that God was rearranging me. My greatest need was met in you when you supplied your point of view. And the last one I want to read that was very emotional for me was when I was contemplating one time how much I love my son. And this is called Shine. Even though my son is grown, he's still my baby. Anyway,
Yeah.
There is a gentle love that's mighty. It is the bond between a mother and a son. I shout that love into the deep night silence. I whisper it to early morning's dawn. There is a promise, the words are left unspoken. So if you're ever hanging by a thread, know in your heart that thread cannot be broken. Know this as you lie dreaming in your bed. You are a gift, and gifts are made to treasure. So don't forget the wonder that you are. You are loved beyond what can be measured, and you can't help but shine when you're a star. And that's the end of that.
Oh, that's very wonderful. You have a very unique gift of just putting things
It's
together.
different.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. Now, how old was your mother when you wrote that poem, that last poem?
She was 90. She made it all the way to 90. And
My mother's the same way. My mother right now, but
I was really fortunate to have her all those years. She was wonderful.
that's very good. Now, the book encourages readers to find a joy even in difficult moments. What do you hope readers take away after finishing it?
I hope readers who know God can draw closer to Him. And I hope that people who aren't sure what they think about God will be inspired to seek Him.
That's very good, yes. Now, looking back on your own journey, what has writing this book taught you about yourself?
It has taught me that learning is progressive, and I'm still in the process. Life is an adventure, and we don't know the future, but truth can make a solid foundation for whatever happens.
Now, have you ever read these poets or poetry outside your normal? You say you did it in schools. Have you done it anywhere where you didn't think that you were ever going to say it?
My poems have been routinely read for church retreats and women's teas and Bible studies. And I go to poetry nights sometimes where they have open mic and read.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, that's good. Now, for someone who is just discovering your work, what would you like them to know before they read Symphony on a Toy Piano II?
Well, I'd like them to know that most of my poetry is not abstract. It has something to say. And I think other churches than my own could find a poem that's appropriate for whatever's being discussed. The book, I think, would be a nice addition to a church library. Plus, there are coloring pages in between each section for anyone who wants to add a little color.
That's a great idea. That is an awesome idea. I really did, because, my boys would love that, because I used to read to them when they were little, going to bed and stuff like that. And this would be perfect. Yes. Now, are you currently working on any new writing project or future books that you'd like to share?
Well, I'm always writing new poems, but I'd have to accumulate quite a few over time to get enough for a new book. But Who knows? There may be a Symphony on a toy piano 3.
Okay. Well, that's good. Now, finally, if you could leave our audience with one message of encouragement today, what would it be?
Just be who God created you to be. It's the best and most fulfilling life possible. And since we were created to draw strength from one another, I'll leave you with one final thought. It's called Weary Pilgrim. It's very short. Weary pilgrim, as you trod along the path that leads to God, open your ears to hear the song of other travelers and grow strong. So words can be eternal things to lift your feet and give them wings. And thank you, Juan, for the interview. I appreciate your time.
Very encouraging. April, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your remarkable journey with us. Symphony on a Toy Piano II is more than a collection of poems. It is an invitation to embrace life's imperfections, celebrate God's faithfulness, and discover hope in both the quiet and the challenging moments of life. Your honesty, compassion, and faith shine through every page, and you're grateful that you shared your heart with our audience. To everyone watching and listening, if today's conversation has inspired you, we encourage you to pick up a copy of Symphony on a Toy Piano II by April Anada Adams and experience these beautiful reflections of yourself. Thank you for joining us on the Writers Airwave Network. Until next time, keep reading, keep learning, and continue sharing stories that inspire, encourage, and bring hope to others. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, April.